It started back in '94 on the east coast of the states. Ultraviolet Philadelphia, gorilla had their own thing in LA. A big no halls, no vacancy, full of harder breath of fresh air from this industry. You've heard of the punks, the dragons, the heroes, they all came through the scene.
Hello world, and all who inhabit it. Welcome to the very first installment of Hooligans Unite. Now, I go by a lot of names, but for now, you could just call me Ruby. I can be seen on USA doing some pretty cool things on Monday nights, but here today, I'm your host, and I'm the founder of Hooligans Unite. Now, you guys, I've been working on this project for some time. I'm very excited and very passionate about it, but I'm not so great at social media or technology in general. So you might have to bear with me, but thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. What you're gonna be seeing on this channel is I'm gonna take you along the way for some activities, some experiences, and sit down chats with some of my friends, peers, and colleagues. But the thing I'm the most excited about is going to be the Pay Your Dues raffle. Now, how this is going to work is myself, along with the fine folks at Punk Rock Saves Lives, are in collaboration to find a charitable organization to donate to every single month. Now, how this is going to work is we are going to announce the charity at the beginning of the month and attach a link to every video that we post. And when you click on that link, for every donation that you make of a $20 value, you will be entered into this cool raffle. See, professional. Into this raffle. Now, at the end of the month, what we're going to do is we are going to draw a winner, and the winner will receive a t-shirt, signed 8x10, and a personal message from yours truly, or a personal message and a custom painting by, again, yours truly, that celebrates whatever charitable organization we are working with that month. So it could look something a little like this. Now, June is Pride Month, and in celebration of Pride Month, we are going to be working with the fine folks at the Trevor Project. Now, the Trevor Project is an incredible nonprofit organization that provides resources to the youth of the LGBTQ community. Now, they provide suicide prevention, advocacy, research, and educational programs, really amazing stuff. And I'm so excited to be able to try and help that cause in any way that I can. And that is who we are going to be starting our fundraiser for. The link can be found down below. This particular one, since we got a little bit of a late start, will extend into next month so that we can get all of the donations that we can. And that brings me to our guest for this evening. Now, she herself is also working with the Trevor Project this month, as well as multiple different causes to support Pride Month. She is constantly very busy. She is the first ever female MMA fighter in WWE, as well as the first ever openly gay female in WWE. Now, she is the founder of Rainbow Love, the co-founder of DaMandyz Donuts, and one of the stars of Fox's own SmackDown Live. She is my friend, and I am honored to have her as our first guest on Hooligans Unite. Please welcome and enjoy my talk with Sonya Deville.
First ever lesbian wrestler of the WWE.
I'm trying to revel in this moment and soak up everything because I remember 4 years ago, I didn't even have a clue how to be open.
I love you! Thank you so much for being on the very first installment of Hooligans Unite. I'm very excited about this project. I am having a great time. Also having a lot of learning. I don't know how to say it. I'm struggling a little bit, but I see that you're everywhere. Like legitimately, when I did my research on you, you got your hands dipped into pretty much everything. How do you juggle that?
I've just, to be honest, well, first of all, congratulations, because this show is badass, and I love that you're being real about saying that everything's not perfect right now, because if you're a human and you're alive right now, life isn't perfect, you know. There's so much stuff going on in the world. It's obviously, you know, affecting a lot of us, and if it's not affecting us directly, it's affecting people that we love. So I love what you're doing. I think this is going to be an awesome show, and I'm so honored to be the first guest. And the question was, how do I juggle my stuff? So I've been a hustler since like I was young, you know, like my first gig was braiding bracelets out of string and selling them on the beach in Jersey. So, I mean, and that was at like age 10, 11, 12. I've just always been a hustler. I love the grind. I love to work. I'll probably never retire. I can't sit still. You know, I'm just a naturally energetic person. So, you know, when I'm not wrestling and focusing on what I'm doing in the ring, I like to have my hands in other things. And, you know, I got my 2 clothing lines. I have Rainbow Love, and then I have DaMandyz Donuts, which started off as a YouTube series. And then Mandy and I made a merchandising line out of it. Right now we're doing $5 of every Pride Month item going to the Trevor Project, and then $5 of every non-Pride item going to Black Lives Matter. So it's just a cool way for me to interact with the fans in a different way, but also help give back and help influence the community in whatever way that I can personally. So yeah, I mean, time management comes in, but I love it. You know, I couldn't have it any other way. I'll say that.
I want to start all of my interviews / talks with most of my friends with, how did we meet? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I know. I got it. Okay. So your tryout, I worked it. So for those of you that don't know, every time there's WWE tryouts, they select NXT talent to work the tryouts. So you're the one that puts everybody through the drills, you know, kind of watches over everybody, keeps, you know, helps everybody out, whatever. So it was me and I don't even remember who else were working your tryout, but who was it?
Mandy, I think.
It was Mandy?
Yeah, I think it was Mandy.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Mandy. Either Mandy or Leah.
So we were working your tryout, and I'll never forget, I saw you come through the line, and I was like, oh, this girl's got like a cool vibe. She got a cool look. And I said something to you. You were, did I tell you more? What did I tell you to do? Oh, smile.
Yeah. You told me to smile more. Can I tell you exactly how you did it? This is the most horrifying day of my life. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. Everything I've done working up to this point has come down to this, and I'm focused, like laser focused, which also means there is no expression on my face or my common scowl that just lays on my face. But you walked up to me mid-drill. I'm running from one ring to the other, and you walked up to me mid-drill. You like pulled me to the side, and you're like, hey, just want you to know this. They really like what you're doing. You have to smile more. And I was legitimately, my first reaction was like, have I not been smiling? And like, my second reaction was like, wow, she's so nice. Like, I knew that you didn't have to tell me that. Like, you didn't have to. You didn't know me. We'd never met before. And you didn't have to tell me this, but you did. And, you know, obviously I got hired, obviously that had a part in it, but it was like the nicest thing, but we were so secretive about it, because I don't know if you were supposed to tell me this. I really like the stuff you're doing. You have to smile more. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Like, it was
I'm like That's so funny because so I'm like really big on energy, right? Like I swear to God, I can like meet you for like 10 seconds and like I have your number pretty good. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, I'm very empathic. Like I can just pick up people's energies quick. And so like your energy immediately was like genuine once this so badly works hard. Like I just saw that and like you can see it in the tryout for sure. That's what tryouts are for, you know? And like I just like caught that vibe immediately. I was like, this chick wants to be here and she's got a cool look. All she got to do is just like, you know, smile a little bit more. Let me just tell her, help a sister out. And then I'll probably see her here in a couple.
That's so funny. Also, for everyone watching at home, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Sonya Deville was my very first WWE match. You were at a live event, you were my WWE debut. My very first.
Yes.
I don't
remember. And liked our match.
They did. And I don't remember what city it was in because I never remember any of the live event cities.
And they didn't like many of my matches at that time. So that was an accomplishment.
Yeah. So but I think both of us went into it because that was around the time when they had started bringing in a lot of people from the indies. So you were my first singles pay-per-view match. I had a pay-per-view match once before that, but I had never had a singles pay-per-view match.
Oh yeah, we were each other's last match before we got called up.
Mm-hmm. That's why
that was a crazy day.
We were in Houston because we were in the pre-show for that. We were on Takeover. Were we on the pre-show or Takeover?
Pre-show of Takeover.
Yeah, and that's why we were in Houston, which we stayed there.
Yep.
And then, like that night, we were told we weren't allowed to leave because we had stuff to do on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah.
I'll never forget. Like I think it was like Coach Bloom or something. Like came up to me on the bus, like on the way there, and was like, he was like smiling and giggling. He's like, "Your life's about to change," and I was like, "Am I getting fired? What's going on?"
So obviously this month we are as well, myself along with our partners with Punk Rock Saves Lives are also donating to the Trevor Project. So I thought it was obviously a perfect pairing to have you on here and to just chat and get to know you and get your message out there. You are the first ever openly gay female in WWE. How has that kind of affected your career? Is it the way that you thought it was going to go? Or is it a bigger part of it? Or how has it affected you?
Yeah, I mean, starting from the beginning, like, 5 years ago, I auditioned, I tried out for a reality show, WWE Tough Enough, which is a competition series that leads to the winners getting signed to WWE, getting contracts. And I was living in LA at the time. I was bartending full time while fighting MMA full time, just on that grind. And I got the opportunity to do like the Skype interview portion of the tryout, which is like the very first preliminary part. And it was 11,000 people that tried out. And then like a couple hundred got flown to Orlando for the physical portion. And then from there, it got narrowed down to 13 that moved into the house on Tough Enough. So I made it to the portion that got flown to Orlando. And the physical part was, easy to me. I'm a lifelong athlete. I've been competing since I was like, 7 years old. So that was fine. And then there was like an in-ring portion where we had to wear something that showed, our figure, obviously. And so I was in a bathing suit. I wouldn't even call it a bikini because this is actually really funny. I put on my bathing suit in the bathroom at the Performance Center. And I never forget this. I came out and almost every female had on like a thong bikini or like, maybe not thong, but like revealing bikini.
Right.
And I had black Billabong bikini. It makes me laugh thinking about it. It was this black Billabong bikini that could not have covered more of my ass cheeks. And I was like, I think Sarah Lee was also pretty conservative too, but I opened the door and I looked around and I was like, oh God, I think I missed a memo or something. And So, and you also like people wore high heels. Like it was like a bikini and high heels, you know? And so they all have like these pumps on. And like, I remember like Mandy at the time, I think she had on like Louboutins, Christian Louboutins, like the red bottoms, you know, I didn't even know what those were then, I don't think. But I came out in these, and Mandy never let me live it down. I came out in these ugly wedge, like wooden wedge heels. And I look back at the photos and I cringe a little bit and I'm like, oh, Daria, I'm like, what was that style? Like, who dressed? But you know, you evolve as you grow. And anyway, so the in-ring portion comes up and I'm standing there in the ring, in the wedges, in the bathing suit, and there's Triple H and like 4 other top WWE executives. And, you know, they're just asking basic questions like, you know, where do you live? What do you do for a living? Why do you want to be a WWE superstar? Are you in a relationship? Blah, 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 blah. And so my first question, ironically, is, are you in a relationship? Which to anybody else trying out, I feel like that's a simple one. It's like, yeah, I got a good one. You know, it's a yes or no answer. But for me, it's this like power loaded question because little do they know I'm gay and I have a girlfriend, and my girlfriend is not out at all at this point. So if I say this on national television, which is what it was, I'm going to out my girlfriend to her entire family. And I'm also going to out myself to my extended family and friends that have no idea, you know? And so in that moment, I was like, oh my God, what do I, and I remember like my wheels were spinning like a million miles an hour. And it was like, you know, it was like 3 hamsters on one wheel trying to figure out like how to run. And I was like, telling the truth, right? Like, you know, you go like fight or flight and you're like, okay, well, it's always best to tell the truth. And I was just like, yeah, I have a girlfriend, but she's not my wife yet. Like, gave some really awkward answer. And they all started laughing. And Triple H is like, did you just come out on national television? And I was like, yeah, I think I did. And so that's kind of how it happened. In that moment, I ran upstairs and I remember I called my mom, I called my girlfriend, and I was freaking out. I didn't know, to be honest, this is honest God's truth. I didn't know if it was going to hinder my chances of getting selected. I didn't know at that point. Clearly, I wasn't that comfortable with my own sexuality because, you know, if you would have asked me that now, I would have been like, of course it's not going to, you know, hurt my chances. Well, it's my sexuality. It's who I love. Like, I would have been more confident in that. But at the time I was young and I didn't know any better. And like I said, I didn't fully accept myself. So I didn't know if it was going to hinder my chances. And obviously it didn't. And it's been, you know, nothing but good ever since. And, you know, now I'm able to kind of use that story and use my story to hopefully inspire other people that it's okay to be whoever you are, you know, and whether that be your sexuality or your gender or your race or your religion. That's something that, you know, that I stand for.
It's amazing. That's a crazy story. I knew part of it, but I didn't know, I don't think I didn't know all of it. And
yeah, I don't know if I told the bathing suit part. That was funny. So
while I love it, it also, I don't know, I think it probably just made you stand out that much more because you weren't concerned with what everybody else was wearing. You weren't concerned with, you know, being anybody but who you were. You were true to yourself even then, even though you were still kind of trying to figure yourself out, but you were true to yourself even then by not going out and trying for the most revealing bikini or the, you know, the highest heels or whatever. So like, I don't know, while it's a very Sonya thing, I like it. I think it adds to the story. At that point, who else knew about your sexuality at that point? Like, who else knew that? Who would you come out to at that point?
So it was my mom, my dad, my sisters, and my like one best friend from high school. Maybe 2 best friends from high school.
But other than anybody else that you had known found out on Tough Enough.
Yeah. And I even remember like, you know, and this is just something that I think is relatable to people that are dealing with being okay with their sexuality is like the people I worked with that I bartended with, like I would give everybody a different answer. Cause you know, everyone, you're bartending with a bunch of bartenders and waitresses, like you talk about your love life, you talk about everything. It's like, you know, basically a therapist's office in there. And they'd always be like, what's your deal? Like, you know, and like from the words, I have a girlfriend, were so hard for me to say at that time. And I look back at that now and I think about that now and I'm like, what's wrong with me? But I was like, sometimes I'd be bold and I'd say it anyway, even though it felt so uncomfortable. I'd be like, I have a girlfriend. But other times I would give like the answer of like, you know, I'd give like some roundabout answer of like, oh, I live out here with a girl from Jersey. And like, I wouldn't kind of elaborate because I just wasn't comfortable, you know? And, you know, I said I was bi for a while or pansexual, you know, just, I didn't know what I was. I was still trying to figure me out. And it wasn't until I came out publicly that I was like, okay, now the world knows. So wait, well, now I kind of have to live my truth, right? Like it kind of forced me in the weirdest way to be more okay with myself. And, you know, the pressure of people watching. And then as soon as I said it on Tough Enough, I started getting like messages and DMs and, you know, on Twitter when it says like 20 plus before Tough Enough, like I never saw like 5 plus, you know, like I didn't have like a lot of followers. And so I started getting like 20 plus and it was like, thank you so much. Like you inspired me. You helped me with my sexuality. And like, once I started seeing that, I was like, man, I got to step up. I got to step up to the plate because now people are watching and they, you know, they need this. They need the platform. They need somebody in the public eye that's going to speak for them, you know?
Did you feel like in that moment like that, there was like a weight that was lifted off your shoulders because you kind of weren't holding yourself to so much pressure or?
So I remember, and you could probably picture this because you know me so well. I went upstairs and I couldn't stop smiling and laughing. Like I was like really giddy and like I didn't know, it was like uncontrollable like giddiness. And so I just kept laughing and I was like, what is going on right now? And I was like crying, but I don't know if it was like happy or it was definitely happy, but like just, yeah, it was definitely a weight like lifted off my shoulders. And you know, like I said, from that moment on is like when I kind of started to actually live my truth.
Oh, that's so great. Well, you talked a little bit about like wanting to be a representative for the LGBTQ community through WWE. When you were younger, did you have a representative that you looked to for guidance or anything like that?
Yeah. That's the funny thing. So I grew up in like small farm town, conservative, South New Jersey. I mean, there's nothing but cows and farms and pickup trucks. And so there was no one that was out in my entire high school that I can remember. I mean, I think there was one kid that transferred in and we were best friends for like a half a year and then he moved away for whatever reason. But like there was nobody around me that was part of the LGBTQ community at all. So that was really tough for me because in my mind I was like, well, it's not a thing. Like it's not a thing. So I can't be, right? Even though I knew, you know, I don't even know what age I knew, but young, like I knew there were so many signs. But as I got like, I always saw Ellen DeGeneres. Like she was always someone that was like really in the spotlight that I knew was gay. And that I could identify with secretly in my own mind because I wouldn't tell anyone that, you know, but that's kind of what's so crazy about like the world today is like, we're constantly making progression and strides in acceptance and equality in general. And I think it's so cool to be part of that because I want to be that person, that ally, that representative for people today. So while they're growing up, well, you know, when they're 13, 14, 15, 16, going through those vital progression years of their life, they can turn on the TV and watch wrestling and be like, oh my God, she's a gay wrestler. I'm gay. I can be a wrestler one day, you know, like not to say that they wouldn't have thought that was possible to begin with, but just to have like, it's like strength and unity, right? Like you just feel more comfortable when you know somebody can relate to you.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. I know that I had read one of your interviews previously, and I know that you you are one of the people that stays in contact with her fans quite a bit, and responds to a lot of like the comments that you get on your Instagram and things like that. And we both know that we get quite a few, you know, both positive and negative, on our Instagram and through social media in general. But I've seen that you are one of those people that, you know, makes it a point to respond, which obviously, you know, means the world to them. Like, do you have anything that you think of that like stands out to you, or like a question or a story that stands out to you from a fan?
Yeah, I mean, so I try to repost a lot of stuff because, you know, in your mentions, like they'll like make you artwork or just cool fan page stuff. And so I try to repost all of that because they work hard on it, and it deserves to be, you know, seen. And I really appreciate it and I love it. And that's kind of my way of letting them know. But I have this like crazy loyal following of like these like 17, 18, 19-year-old girls that are gay and part of the LGBTQ community, and they like come to all my signings, and I know them. Like, one of the girls' names is Taryn, super cool, and like just her and all her friends, and they come to all the signings, and so they're just kind of like, you know, part of my day ones. This girl Lisa, she's such a loyal fan, you know, loves the DaMandyz stuff, Rainbow Love, supports everything I do, and like I just love hearing everybody's stories. You know, at any given time, if I'm having a bad day, I can kind of skim, you know, the DMs, and, you know, I just look for the people that send me these paragraphs, you know, and they're telling me their story. Like, I came out to my mom the other day and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Thank you for giving me the courage to do so. You know, just all kinds of inspiring stories that I read every single day. And I'm blessed that they feel that they can share that with me and that I can be part of their journey, you know, because I just know how much that would mean to me when I was that age.
Yeah. It makes everything that we do just that much more powerful, and it makes all like the negative stuff that we get on social media, having things like that, having something that's so impactful and an iconic moment in their lives, you know, was affected by you, was influenced by you, and like that's such a powerful thing to hold, and I think that you do that and you represent it very, very well with everything that you're doing. I know you talked a little bit about DaMandyz and your donation to the Trevor Project. Tell me a little bit about Rainbow Love and how that came about and when that started.
Yeah, so, you know, DaMandyz has been around for a couple of years now, and obviously me and Mandy aren't on talking terms. So we have our assistant, Ryan, that is great, that goes back and forth with communication with both of us so that we can still give you guys the product that you deserve. So also, this is the Pride Month photo that I will be autographing them all today, sending out to you guys.
Dang, that's a cool picture.
Part of going to the Trevor Project. But Rainbow Love, so this is one of my Rainbow Love t-shirts. So Rainbow Love is the collection. I partnered with my buddy Bobby on it, who owns Black Craft Clothing. That's like in Hot Topic and a bunch of other stores. He works with like Alistair Black and stuff too. And basically he came to me and was like, I had gone to him saying I wanted to do a clothing line. And so he came to me, he's like, what kind of clothing line do you want to do? What are you looking to do? And I was like, well, I'd love to do something that represents the LGBTQ community. You know, I just, like I said before, like inclusion is so important to me, and representation, and it goes the same with clothing. You know, I want to wear something that I stand for, you know, and that I'm proud of. And same with the products that I make. Anything I put my name on, I want it to mean something, not just something I'm slapping a label off it. You know, I'm not over here making millions off of my clothing lines. You know, I'm really just trying to put product out there to relate with my fans and give back to them in some sort of way as well. So yeah, we came up with some cool concepts. This was a photo that I did with Ryan Loco like a year ago probably, and we just put some rainbow coloring on it. One of our first shirts says "You are not alone" on the back and has a suicide prevention hotline, being that suicide rates in the plus community or high in general. I think it's very important for them to know that there's resources and tools to hopefully help and cope with that, to help affect those rates and get them down. So yeah, it's just a line that speaks to what I believe in. And so people have really loved it so far. So it's been exciting to kind of share with everybody.
Wow. Also, just so everybody knows, that link for everything that she is sharing, the Rainbow Love, Suicide Prevention Hotline, DaMandyz Donuts, everything that we mentioned here will be in the link below in the little bio thing.
Yeah.
Just to throw it out there. I know obviously with this year being a rather tough one, we unfortunately aren't going to be able to have any parades. And I know obviously that is a big part of Pride Month. I've never been to a parade and I've always wanted to go, but
Gotta get going.
A small town, and I never really had access to go to one, but I've always wanted to go to one. What is your favorite part of the parades?
Just the camaraderie, like just when, so I went to my first Pride Parade 3 years ago, I think, in Orlando. I'm a late bloomer over here. Once again, dealing with accepting myself, that's part of it. And it was so much fun. My mom came, it was me, Mandy, and my mom. And my mom wore a shirt that says, I have 2 gay daughters and I'm proud, because my little sister's gay too. It was so cute. And just the camaraderie. I mean, like, everyone's happy. Just the vibes are good. Everyone's, there for the same cause and the same reason. And that's to celebrate and love who we are. So I just love them overall. They're just good vibes all around. On Total Divas, we did the Fort Lauderdale Pride Parade because that's where I was living at the time. And like all the girls were on it with me, all my friends. And so my mom was there, my little sister was there. So that was super cool to share with them. Super fun, like more local style parade. I was actually so stoked to go this year because I've still not been to that many. I still feel rookie in the game, so I have like catching up to do. So this year I was gonna like hit them all. I had already been in talks with WWE, and they were all on board for doing all that and participating as well. So yeah, I was looking forward to it. But you know what? That's why we did the Trevor Project donations. That's why I'm doing the clothing line, because there's still other ways that we can, keep the celebration and the representation going, even though, everything that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, that's from what I've seen. And I did watch that episode. You got your own float, which was sick. The float looked great.
Cool.
Probably my favorite part, it gave me goosebumps. You were running down the street with the flag in your hand. You're like, I'm gay. It was the best thing. I loved it. It gave me goosebumps because you were so happy, and like it just felt like there was just a general vibe of just acceptance there of anybody and everybody from all walks of life, that it's just accepted. And it's definitely something that is on my bucket list to absolutely do.
I'm gonna go.
Yay! Yay!
I got you.
I'm so good. Oh, I'm so excited now. I'm so excited. I know that you are also, along with the 1,200 other hats that you wear, you're also doing things with GLAAD and the Human Rights Campaign. Tell me a little bit about your work with them. Yeah,
so we've been in touch with GLAAD like on and off for the last 2 years. Stephanie McMahon has been a big help in making those connections and being really supportive of everything that I've wanted to do, and any kind of inclusion that I've wanted to try and implement into WWE. I was on the GLAAD float at New York World Pride last year, which was so much fun. And then the Human Rights Campaign, I was invited to their gala in New York City this year, a couple months ago, actually. It wasn't that long ago, which was so cool. Naomi Campbell was a speaker. It was a really like eye-opening event for me. I met so many people from the community, like so many like-minded people. It was really fun to be around. We were all kind of like talking the same talk, and it felt good to kind of be on the same page with like so many people all trying to do the same, you know, positive things for the world. So that was super fun. And, you know, I'd love to do stuff with them in the future. But yeah, it's just important to me now. Like I said, I feel like I'm late to the game. So I'm kind of like just trying to diversify my knowledge and figure out what I can do to best use my platform in a positive way, but also an accurate way. You know, I want to be just that voice for those that don't have it. And I do want to touch on something though, because you were talking about earlier how like hard times are right now, and like social media can be tough too. And like I'm gonna tell you a true story. I texted my friend the other day and I was like, would it be bad if I like took a social media break, you know, for a little bit right now? And she answered back and she said, you can't, because you have a voice, and right now more than ever, I know it's hard, but you need to use it to make a change because it's important, and people, you know, are listening to what you have to say. And that like kind of, you know, that kind of hit me, because I was really thinking about, you know, just deactivating all social media for a minute and just kind of letting my brain just retreat, because, you know, we're all struggling. But it was kind of like an epiphany for me, and I was like, you know what, she was right. And you know, so obviously I decided not to, and I understand the importance of using my voice and sharing my message. So for all of you out there that are feeling that, I feel you, but we all have a voice and we all have a purpose. So try to hang in there and then use it.
I do. I think it's important, and that's one of the reasons that this channel actually was started to begin with. I, one, am bad at social media, but two, social media I feel like is a very, very powerful tool that some have a tendency to use in not so positive way. And I feel like I can't sit back and be upset about what I'm watching on social media when I'm not doing anything to try and benefit it. And I think that's a lot of the things that you're doing right now, as far as as far as everything that you're doing with Rainbow Love, and with GLAAD, and with the Trevor Project, and at Pride Month, and even outside of Pride Month, you are constantly doing things to try and spread that love, which I think is incredibly important. And I think we're using social media to its best ability, and it's to spread positivity, especially in a time where things seem to look so negative, and also hopefully influence people to do the same. Like if you don't like what you're seeing on social media, spread some love, you know, tell somebody that they look great today, or start a YouTube cooking channel or whatever. It's just very important for us to get.
It's been circulating, Rube. It's like, I love you. You're probably asking yourself, you don't even know me, but if I can hate someone without even knowing them, why can't I love someone without even knowing them? Probably butchered that, but you get the gist. Like,
So powerful.
oh, good.
Yeah, it's just it's a really, really be able to use our platform with WWE, but also I don't think that people have, I think they underestimate themselves and to what influence they can have. I'm just one person, you know what I mean? And I felt that way, even being in WWE. I felt like, oh, I'm just me. Like, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? But like, what we
A lot.
and we can make a change. We can change people's minds, and with what you're doing, like going to the GLAAD events and everything, and educating yourself. I think that's the most important tool, is just to educate yourself on the world around you, and learn more, because, you know, obviously we hear it all the time in wrestling, like you're never going to know everything. But like that's the same way in any aspect of the world. There's always more you can know. There's always more stories you can hear, which is why I wanted you on here, because I wanted everyone who hadn't yet, any of my fans, or anybody who just scrolling through YouTube and saw this, like, to hear your story, because it's such a powerful one. It's such an amazing one. I'm happy to have you on here, buddy. You talked a little bit earlier about this Pride Parade where your mom wore that shirt. I have met your mother. She's a wonderful human being. I adore her so much. She is always so, like, from the get, she's always been so nice to me. Do you think that she is one of, if not your biggest supporter, and she's given you the confidence to kind of do all of these things that you have been a part of?
100%. It's just, you know, when you think about the word unconditional love, like it means to me like just blindly supporting things regardless of the context. Like I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of dreams and aspirations when I was a kid. Like I was that kid that like I'd come home one day and I was like, I'm gonna be a chef and I want to open a restaurant. And then I'd come home and I'd be like, I want to be an actress, you know. And then I wanted to be an MMA fighter. And then, you know, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything. But she just blindly supported me before I could even finish my sentence. Whatever you want to do, like, and like just supported me no matter what, you know. And I had, you know, other people in my life that was a little bit more difficult. You know, you always have like this softer, like nice parent, and then, you know, you have the voice of reason and the more stubborn one, like set in their ways. Like my dad was like that, you know. He was like, I want to be an MMA fighter. Like, what the hell are you gonna do with that? Like, you're a girl. Like, you know, he's just very old school, and like he didn't get it. And he was like, he's a businessman at the end of the day, so he didn't understand like 2 + 2 didn't equal 4 for him. You know, it was like, she's gonna be a fighter, okay, but you gotta go to college, you gotta get a degree, or you gotta make a business, like something, you know. Like he just didn't see like the long term of it. But like in my head, I grew up watching Gina Carano fight, you know, gorgeous, talented, after fighting transitioned into Hollywood. Like that was always my plan. I was like, I'm gonna be a fighter and I'll stand for something and I'll have a voice and a presence, and that'll lead to other things, but like I'll fight because I love fighting, you know. And then like I just always saw like kind of a big picture like that. And then, you know, I got into acting and I was like, I always wanted to like mesh those two worlds. So it's really kind of funny that I ended up in WWE that I didn't ever plan on, because it's literally those two things combined. Yeah. It's so, but it's like, yeah. So, you know, my dad was like a doubter, and it's a funny story because he came to like my second MMA fight, right? He was like, all right, let me come to one of these things, whatever. And I knocked the girl out, you know, it was a TKO. And he was like on a high after it. He was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that was my daughter. Oh my God, you just knocked her out. And like, he was like freaking out, right? And like, I was living in LA at the time. I was bartending and fighting, and like definitely wasn't his ideal scenario for his daughter, but he was like starting to come around. And then, you know, fast forward, like when I got signed to NXT, when I was on Tough Enough on TV, like he just like slowly started coming around, and now he follows me to like every pay-per-view. You know, he came to Vegas for Chamber. He came to, where was Mania? What's it called with the Bagnettes? New Orleans for Mania. Like now he like follows me to like everything. He's so obsessed, and he's like, you know, I can't go home without going to my local restaurant, Italian restaurant. Everyone's like, oh, you know, Dario, we're so proud of you. And I'm like, oh my God, all my dad does is talk about me in here, you know. It's like, so it's like that funny, like, you know, full circle moment. But like, bottom line is, if I didn't have my mom, like that rock through that whole thing of like that blind, unconditional love and support, like, I don't know if I'd be here right now. Because, you know, and it wasn't just my dad, you know, a lot of people were like, oh God, what is she doing? She's out in LA on her own. Like, she'll be back home soon. You know, we were such a small town, so that's just what reality was, you know. She'll pack up her bags when she doesn't make it on the big screen, and she'll be home soon, whatever, you know. And that fueled me a little bit too. But just knowing that my mom believed in me and always had my back, I was like, I'm doing this for my mom, you know. So she's a good woman.
Love her.
Best. She loves you. Loves you.
Aww.
Big Ruby Riott fan.
She from the get, like from the day I met her, she was just so open and just so loving, and just smiling ear to ear and I think the first time I did meet her, I think it was at a live event or something like that.
Yeah.
And she was just so excited to be there and to be in the atmosphere and everything like that. And she was awesome. So
she's the #1 fan, bro.
Yeah.
No one will ever beat her. #1 fan.
And I'm sure you are hers too. like you said, predominantly your fan base, you know, is part of the LGBTQ community, mostly like teenagers, you know, that have reached out to you and stuff like that. What would you say to them if they don't have somebody that's like your mom, that's strong and open-minded and supportive like that? What would you say to them if they're watching this?
I would say it's the most valuable thing in the world is believing in yourself when nobody else does. It's the most valuable thing in the world. You know, there's times in all of our lives where we feel completely alone. We feel like no one understands what we're trying to achieve. You know, we're the only ones that kind of get it and know, like that little feeling you have in the back of your brain that says, no, but I think I can do it. But you know, right? I can, right? Like, no, you can. You 100% can, and I'm living proof of it. So listen to that little voice instead of the million other voices in your frontal lobe saying, no, it's too hard. It's too much money. You're not going to do it. You're not going to make it on your own. You're going to go back. You're from a small town. You know, like, block all that out and listen to that little voice that's saying you can, because I promise that's the truth. That's the angel talking to you. And the best thing I ever did was stay consistent. I remember living out in LA, the amount of gigs, the amount of things that I did without pay, like things I just did like for my reel or just for experience to meet somebody. For example, I hosted a podcast on AfterBuzz TV, which is owned by Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, her husband. And I would do that every Sunday. You know, it's not paid. It's a really good experience. It's for exposure. You can use the footage for your reel. But I would drive an hour and a half to the Valley from Culver City every single Sunday to watch 3 hours of UFC and then do an hour-long after show on it. So I was there for, 4 or 5 hours every Sunday on top of bartending 5 days a week and training MMA 6 days a week. So it was a hustle. And there were some Sundays where I woke up and I was like, I don't feel like driving to the Valley right now. But every single Sunday without fail, I drove to the Valley. I put in the work. And bottom line is Marie and Kevin saw that. And not only did they value my talent and what I was capable of, but they valued that more than anything, the consistency and the work ethic and the energy. And so they took me under their wing and they became like my mentors. And that's how I found out about Tough Enough, and that's how I got the original audition. So that's just one little story. I have a bunch of weird stories like that where consistency pays off. It really does. And so never say never. Don't say no to any opportunity that could be a good opportunity, as long as it's true to what you believe in, and just follow your heart.
That was great. I loved that. My heart is full right now. Thank you so much for coming out here. Where you're at home. But thank you so much for being a part of this and being the first guest that I've ever had here, and me of trying to interview people, which I've never done before. And also just thank you for being you and for inspiring your fans to levels that most people can't even comprehend, from the LGBTQ community and beyond, of just being people, or just having people be true to themselves and to who they are and to what makes them happy, and not trying to conform to what others expect them to be. I think that that's such an important thing that I think that people take for granted. But I think when they look at you and they see all the things that you're accomplishing and all the things that you're supporting and that you're passionate about, I think that it sends an awesome message that I'm so happy that you shared and is on my channel now, and that you took the time to come and talk to me. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Ruby. I just got to say, because, for everybody listening, me and Ruby, we debuted the same time. Absolution and Riot Squad debuted the same time. And there was a few days when me and Ruby were trapped in, I think, Houston? Yeah, Houston together. And, we were in the same hotel, and we just found out we got called up. It was just the two of us. And obviously we're like little kids, like living our dream. It was like the best phone call in the world is that you're going to be on Raw SmackDown, and we're like looking outside. What?
really know what was going on. Like we knew that something was happening, but we were like, but what though? And no one would give us any information.
No anything.
Oh,
So
God.
for 3 days, we were at our hotel, went out to dinner, lunch, whatever, nonstop. Like, so what do you think we're doing? Like trying to figure out everything. Like we just bonded so much on that trip, and I've loved you ever since. I loved you before that too, but just such a genuine soul. Wouldn't harm a fly besides in the ring, you know, she'll kick your ass there, but just a great person. And I'm so happy to be your first guest on this show. You're a badass, and thanks for having me on, dude.
Thanks. And of course now my it's almost I feel like that has to be like the
That's the end. That's it.
Let's take this mindset overseas. Underrated for